Welcome back to Mac Talks Football, and after the midweek games of Champions League, we are back to a domestic league, and that means it's time for the predictions for the weekend games. We are gonna start with in this video. We're gonna concentrate on Serie A, and there are some mouth-watering games in Serie A this weekend. We have got Juventus playing against Roma. We have the Milan derby, of course. So like quite an interesting games in Serie A. So let's go ahead and make our predictions. You guys can play along with me, and you can you can make your predictions in the comments below, and we're gonna see at the end of the weekend how many of our predictions are correct and how many points we can accumulate. 3 points if the entire prediction is right, 2 points if the prediction is right but the score is not correct. So let's get right ahead. The first game is Cagliari versus Empoli. Now both these teams have a different kind of different sort of starts to the season, to be very honest with you. Cagliari have not really been that good. They are still their performances have dipped down. They have not had a good start, to be very honest with you, and they got thumped 4-0 last week by Napoli as well. So it's been a downhill trajectory for them, and it's not really looking good for them, to be very honest with you. Empoli on the other hand, they are looking really good. They are still undefeated in the league, even though they have it's a 3 draws on the trot, but they are still undefeated. They are playing good football. They are like what I'm liking is like the defensive unit for them is quite strong, and it's really hard to basically score against them. They stopped Juventus last week as well, so like it was a 0-0 draw. Juventus tried really hard, but as I said, the defensive unit of Empoli is really good, and I think that is gonna continue. That is making them look really good. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. These teams have they have 4 goals between them. Empoli have scored 3, and Cagliari have just scored 1 goal till now. As I said, Cagliari have not had a good start to the season, but I think this game is not gonna be a typical high scoring game. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I am going for a close 1-0 away win for Empoli. I think Cagliari's bad start to the season continues, and Empoli finally get their second win after 3 consecutive draws. Moving on, the next game is Verona versus Torino. Both teams are still undefeated till now, and both teams have had a really good start to the season. Torino are 6th in the league. Verona are 8th. They have played 2. They have lost 2. But both of them, as I said, they're playing a really good football, to be very honest with you. Torino, I think, were really lucky last week not to lose against Lecce, because they were really bad in that game. I'll be very honest with you. I said that in my review as well. Lecce would be very disappointed to not get a win in that game. Verona, on the other hand, they lost their game against Lazio, but it was quite an exciting game, and even though they lost, they played really good football, and I was quite impressed with them. So that's why it's quite hard for me to call this one, because both the teams have they are playing good, but the results sometimes are not reflecting how they are playing. I really don't think Torino deserved a point out of the last week's game, and on the other hand, I think Verona deserved a point out of that game, but football works in funny ways, and that is why I think I'm gonna stay on the fence in this one. I'm going for a 1-1 draw between Verona and Torino. The next game is Venezia versus Genoa. Venezia have had a horrendous start to the season, and it got worse last week when they got thumped 4-0 by Milan. I mean, everything is going against them. They are not really playing a good brand of football, and nothing is really working for them. Whatever the manager is trying to do, it is not having the impact on the field for them. They are playing against a Genoa side who themselves have not really had a good start to the season, to be very honest with you. They drew last time out 1-1, and I think and I even though they drew, I don't think they played that well. It's basically the same as Venezia. They're not really whatever the manager is trying, it's not really working on. And but I think as compared to Venezia, they are a bit better, and I think as I said, they drew last week, and I think they are gonna go a step further in this game. I think they are gonna get that first win of this season that they desperately need. And I think when Isia's bad start it's not a bad start, no, it's a horrendous start, and I think it's going to gonna get worse than that. I think they lose this one again. I'm going for a 3-1 away win for Genoa. The next game is Juventus versus Napoli, and I mean that is the blockbuster game for Saturday. That is the type of game that you really want to see, and I mean both the teams have had a really great start to the season. Juventus, they started with 2 wins, but the last 2 games have been draws for them, and I think they like that in a way that makes this game even better, because they are in a bit of under pressure after not winning the last 2 games. Napoli, on the other hand, they started the season with a shock loss on match day 1 against Verona, but after that it has been 3 straight wins, and as I said, they thumped Cagliari 4-0 last week, so they are high on confidence. So it's going to be quite an interesting game, to be very honest with you. And that is why, like, I don't really know which side to go on. On one hand, you have a Juventus who, like, I would say are much a better side as compared to Napoli, who are a better in better shape, who look like like I don't really know how to explain it, but they look better as a unit, as a complete unit, as compared to Napoli. Whatever, like Motta's decisions, Motta's techniques, whatever he wants to do, it's like quite visible what Juventus are going to game plan. I just don't have the words, like, but it just feels like you understand, you know what you are gonna get with Juventus. That's what basically I'm trying to say, that you understand what you can expect from Juventus. Napoli, on the other hand, they are like just completely different from Juventus. You don't really know what they are gonna they're gonna come up with every game they play. It's like a different brand of football. It's quite they are exciting and fun to watch, but you really don't know what you can expect from them. So that's why it's going to be quite a fun game to watch. And I don't really think I don't really think like either team is gonna win in this game. It is a very important game quite early on. Both the teams, like Napoli are 2nd and Juventus, I think, are 4th, and that is like 2nd and 4th. It's quite an important game, a top of the table clash, and it makes it even more interesting because of the other games that they have on the weekend. Like you have, as I already said, the Milan derby as well, and Roma are playing I forgot, like Roma are playing another team as well. So like it's quite a big weekend in Serie A, so this game is quite crucial. I don't think either of the team wins. I'm going for a 2-2 a draw between Juventus and Napoli. The next game is Lecce versus Parma. Both these teams have sort of had a similar sort of start to the season. Both teams are on the same points at the moment, and the last week was quite fun for both of them. Like Lecce, as I already said, they were in my opinion quite unlucky, and will be quite disappointed that they did not get a win against Torino, because I think they were all over them in that little draw. Parma, on the other hand, they played a really good game against Udinese. They lost 3-2, but I think they were really good, and I think they at least deserved a point out of that game, but they did not get it. And in this game, I think it will be quite a close game. I don't think you are gonna see that many chances created. I think it was, I would say, go on and say on the limb that I think it will be a boring game, to be very honest with you. I don't see many chances being created in this game, and I think it is going to be a boring 0-0 draw between Lecce and Parma. The next game is Fiorentina versus Lazio. Now, Fiorentina have not really had the start that most of the people expected from them. They are still winless. They drew the first 3 games, and then they lost last week against Atalanta. That was quite a fun game, to be very honest with you. They started really good, but I think in the second half they really did not do anything. Both of the teams did not do anything, but Atalanta had the lead. They just controlled the game, and Fiorentina, like, I think they basically like they did not have enough in their tanks after the first half, and they lost that game quite convincingly in the end, to be very honest with you. They are playing against Lazio side, who won against Verona. I think that was quite a fun game to watch. Again, a similar sort of a game like Fiorentina. All the 3 goals came in the first half, and the second half was like it was but in comparison to the other game, like it was still an exciting game. Both teams tried to create a lot of chances but were not able to convert them. So I am expecting a close game. I am expecting goals in this game, but I think Fiorentina's winless run is gonna continue, and I'm going for a 2-1 win for Lazio. The next game is Monza versus Bologna. Now both these teams are still winless in the league. Both of them are in the bottom 5, and before the season started no one would have really expected that, but as I said, they have not really but even though both of them are in the bottom 5, both of them have played completely different, to be very honest with you. Bologna have played really bad football. They have not really lived up to the expectations that a lot of people had, and I think they are lucky that they are not in even further down, because all the points that they have collected, they have barely scraped through them. Even the last game against Como, they scored like last 2 goals in the last 2 goals in the last 15 minutes to get a point out of that game, because in my opinion they really did not deserve to get anything out of that game. In contrast, Monza they have been the better teams in most of their games, but unfortunately they are not able to finish these games off. Before the international week they were 2-0 up, but they ended the game as 2-2. Last week as well they were 1-0 up for a majority of the time, and then they concede late on, and the game ends again 1-1. So they would be really disappointed. Like that's potentially 4 points lost, where they could have easily gone ahead and won those games. But I think this is the game where they finally get that first win of this season. I don't think Bologna are going to be that much that much of a big threat to Monza in this game. I am going for a close scoreline, but I just think that the goals that Bologna are gonna score is going to be a consolation one late on in the game. I'm going for a 2-1 win for Monza. The next game on Sunday is like another big game, Roma versus Udinese. Now Roma are still winless. I really did not think that was gonna happen. I thought they were gonna be one of the teams that was gonna challenge for the title or try to get into the top 4. It could still happen. Like it's still early doors, 4 games in, but they are I would say in a way I expected that. I said in the previews and the prediction that they are gonna have a slow start, and because they have assigned a lot of players, I think they had one of the best transfer windows in Europe, and they have brought in a lot of players, so they need time to adjust, and slowly you are seeing them, the performances come together. Even last week, Gameweek finally scored his first goal for Roma and for Serie A, and they almost got the win, but they conceded in the 96 minutes. So that was a hard week for them. So they are getting into their group. They are playing an Udinese side who have had a sensational start of the season. I expected them to do really good. I thought but not that good. I expected them to be in a top 10. That was my prediction for them, but they are top of the table currently, and they are playing really good football, and nobody really expected that from them. So I think it's going to be a tough game, but I don't think any of them win it. I'm going for a lot of draws this weekend, and this is another one in adding to the list. I think it will be a close game. I think it will be goals in this game. It will be a fun game to watch. I'm going for a 2-2 draw between Roma and Udinese. The next game is the big one on a Sunday. It is Inter versus Milan, the Milan derby, and everybody's gonna be up for it in that game. And unfortunately, I'm I don't want to be a spoiler, as Paul Heyman says, it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. I don't think that game is gonna be it's gonna be a good game. I don't think it's gonna be a fierce game that everybody is expecting it to be. It's a Milan derby. I know everybody's gonna be pumped for it, all the fans and everything, but I think it's gonna be a quite one-sided game, that one. I don't think Milan are gonna gonna do any real damage. Like, they have been dreadful this season. I'll be very honest with you. I like Francesca is not really working out for Milan, to be honest with you. They won a 4-0 last week, there's no doubt about that, but they were playing against a Venezia side, so like it's nothing as special, to be very honest with you. Everybody expected them to win that game, but before that they have played really bad football, and in the midweek again they lost to Liverpool, and there's no a sign of improvement from Milan, to be very honest with you. They are playing against Inter, like their fiercest rival, who on the other hand looked really good. They are the champions. They are still undefeated, and even though they are not on top at the moment, they have drawn 2 games, but I think they are still looking good. And I think it's they played Manchester City against, they did not lose again. That was a big point for them, going away at the Etihad and coming back with a draw. I think that was a very important for them. And as I said, I think they are gonna comfortably win. I'm going very easy. I think it's not gonna be something special that everybody wants it to be, and that's an unfortunate thing, because a Milan derby is like such an important event in Italian football, in European football. But I think it will be very easy for Inter. I'm going for a 3-0 Inter win. And we finally finish match day 5 in Serie A with Atalanta versus Como. Atalanta last week they won. They went back to winning ways against Fiorentina. Sorry, they won a 3-2, and I think it was quite a good performance. They needed that win after the thumping they received from Inter. So it was an important and crucial win for them. They are playing against a Como side who are still winless, and I think they would be very disappointed that they are still winless, because most of the games that they are playing, they should be winning those games. Especially last week again, they were 2-0 up with 15 minutes to go, and they let go of that game quite easily. Before that they were like, it was a 0-0, and they had a chance to win it in the 90th minute with a penalty, and they scuffed that as well. So Cesc Fabregas is doing really good with his team, but they are not able to get those results that they want, and unfortunately for them, I don't think they are gonna get the result that they want this week as well. I think they're gonna stay winless until another match day. I think Atalanta are gonna win it comfortably. The only one thing that can maybe help Como is like Atalanta played a Champions League game against Arsenal on Thursday, so maybe some of the players may be fatigued, and that might help Como in a way. But I still think Atalanta are gonna be we are tough. They're gonna have enough in their tank, and I think they are gonna win it comfortably 2-0 against Como. So that is it. These are my predictions for match day 5 in Serie A. We're gonna see how many of them are correct and how many I mess up. You guys can go ahead and make your predictions in the comment section below, and we're gonna see how many of you get it right at the end of the weekend. That is it from me in this video. Like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 300 subscribers by the end of this month. It is a very big task, but let's hope we go ahead and achieve it. Until next time, bye bye.